Good day, business enthusiasts. I am OT Honora Stella Somtochukwu, your host for today's edition, the Executive Business Pundits, brought to you by JC Best Schools International, the best in spite of all odds. Today, we dive into a subject that lies at the very heart of modern business success: data analysis, the secret to business sustainability, with a special case, the House of Quant within Amazon. In a world driven by information, decisions based on instinct are no longer enough anymore. Data has become a new currency. Companies now collect data, interpret data, apply data into the ones to stay ahead. From predicting consumer behavior to optimizing operations, data analysis is now an invisible engine that powers sustainable growth. Our focus today, the House of Quant within Amazon, is a striking example of how data driven models, algorithms, and strategic insights can transform retail and logistics into a finely tuned, responsive, and scalable ecosystem. By leveraging quantitative analysis, Amazon has redefined efficiency, personalized user experience, and set a new standard for global commerce. As we explore this fascinating topic today, we will not just uncover strategies that drive giants like Amazon, we will also see how large businesses and small businesses can stay afloat and for them to adopt these data centric models. So stay tuned with me today as we dissect the numbers, the strategies, and the secret behind most of the powerful businesses today. On today's episode, with me are executive pundits of business of JC Best Schools.
Master Justice Sylvia.
I'm Don Patricia.
Master Bemisue Ijola.
I am Master Dades Abio.
I'm Miss Sonia Onchukwu.
I am Miss Wambara Chibu.
I am Master Omeke Oluwa.
Nice to meet you all today. So my question is to Mr. Gbemisoye. I want to ask, what exactly is data analysis and how does it serve as a foundation for management information?
Okay, for us to understand data analysis, we need to dissect its core part first, which is data. So, what do we understand by data? Data are raw facts and figures which are processed to form meaningful information. Now that we understand data, we can delve into the true meaning of data analysis. Now, data analysis is simply the process of transforming, modeling, and cleaning of data to transform it into information with the aim of making informed business decisions. So now, data analysis as the foundation of a business. By analyzing data, businesses can easily receive feedback from customers, which allows them to enhance their product. Let's take Amazon for instance. Amazon a few years back organized a fitness program. They gave their Prime Amazon subscribers gym memberships to see their reactions to it and they notice their patterns. So with this, the consumers exhibited certain patterns which Amazon was able to grasp. And by carefully analyzing these patterns, they were able to create customized plans for the consumers. And the consumers were obviously happy with the feedback because now the plans are suited perfectly to them. That is why data analysis, this is a clear example of why data analysis should be the core of every business. In this modern day and age, working with guts, intuition, and pure instinct is not enough. It's just down to a probability. But by carefully analyzing data and following due processes, we can turn this probability to a near certain possibility. This possibility allows us to cover a wide range of things, enjoying customers, income increased, and everything. So we increase from probability to possibility, which is going from unclear to clear. Thank you.
So in other words, Mr. Gbemisoye, what you're saying is that one of the foundations of management information relating to Amazon, that's the book, The House of Quants within Amazon, is user personalized experience for customers.
Exactly.
Ms. Wachuku, my question is to you. What role does data analysis play in management?
Data analysis has numerous roles, but I'll be talking about only little. Data analysis is used for making informed decisions. In that case, it's used for businesses in order to make decisions that will actually help the company to grow and to maintain stability. Also, data analysis is also used for trend identification. It's used for trend identification in other as it is to ensure that okay what we are giving to the public is what is actually good for them, is what's actually satisfying them. It's used to understand trends by what I give to the customers. Is it what's actually good for them? Is it what is actually making my company to grow well? Okay, from there you actually know what you add to the business, to the market, in order to make increased sales and good profits. It's also used in understanding opportunities and laws and everything like that. It's used to understand when the company is actually gaining good sales or different kind of good initiatives. It's used to understand if the company is actually doing quite well, and used to understand the things that will help the company to boost sales and other kind of things. It's also used in performance management. In performance management, the data analysis helps in performance management by understanding, okay, is this the particular thing that we need to add to the company, or is this the particular thing that's helping the company to grow? Because if we understand that, we're able to move the company further. When the business owners or when the analysts understand this, they'll be able to make the company to grow further. Using Amazon as a case study, Amazon had a group of individuals called the House of Quants that come together to actually bring different initiatives to help the company to grow, to find out different ways in which the company can be affected by particular factor or not. It can be affected by internal factors or external factors, but basically data analysis helps them to between different initiatives to actually help the company to grow. And also, data analysis helps in risk assessment, in helping the company to know if a particular feature or a particular initiative is bringing their company down or is going to lead to a failure in the company's product.
All right, Master Gbemisoye, back to you. What are the key steps involved in data analysis?
Ah, yes. The key steps involved in data analysis. Okay, now you're aware of what data analysis is, but you don't know how to start. Well, good for you. These are the steps, the key steps to data analysis. First, defining the problem. Okay, you need to define the problem, identify your problem that you need to tackle, because for a solution there was obviously a problem before. So now you need to identify your problem to allow you to start your analysis process, because this is the first stage of analysis. Then we
Sorry,
move.
Master Ben, sorry. Are you trying to say that a problem must arise before data analysis takes place? I need to
Yes.
understand what you're actually trying to say.
Yes, we are human, so definitely in every system that we operate in, there is obviously not 100% efficiency. So there are slight problems in some specific areas which we need to identify. So big companies like Amazon, Facebook, and likes, they are able to identify those tiny problems, which allows them to update their efficiency day after day. So that's what I'm saying. You have to identify a
Thank
problem. So we move on to gathering data. So we've identified our problem. Now we have to gather the data. By gathering data, we can gather this in different forms by using surveys, by carrying out surveys and other data gathering tools. By this, we gather the appropriate amount of data we need for the next phase of our data analysis process. Now we have to clean it. This is the third stage, cleaning it. So obviously we have this pile. Imagine this heap of data we just gathered. Not everything will be completely relevant. We have to carefully screen it out one after the other to see which one we need in particular. So that's cleaning.
And
Over to you.
also, to add to what Master Bemisoye said, you perform analysis on the data that you have cleaned. You can't say that you're done cleaning a data and you don't analyze how this data will help your company to grow, or in which kind of initiative you use to make that particular data that you have cleaned to work for your business or your company. And next, you interpret your findings. After you're done analyzing that data that you've cleaned, you have to interpret it on how you would use that particular data to help your company to grow. You have to interpret it on the way your house of funds or your pundits around would help in would use that data to actually form meaningful information for your company. And also, lastly, you have to visualize your results. It is known that not all data you have gotten, not all data you have gathered and interpreted would work for your company. You must always know that there must be failures in every kind of initiative you plan to use for your company. So you must always be ready to understand if, okay, this particular initiative I use or this particular data I gathered, would it actually work for my company? Okay, if it does not work for my company, what other ways can I use to restabilize my company back? You must have different areas to pick from. You must not only have a particular data to just select from, you must have different varieties to choose from. And this is something I'm giving to every businessman or woman out there. Know this acronym, GDCTS. It means gather your data, discover your data, clean your data, transform your data, and store your data. And I promise you, if you should follow these steps critically and um, if you should follow these steps critically, I assure you and I assure you that your company will run smoothly and stabilize. Thank you.
Ms. Wachuku, I would just want you to say that acronym again so that our audience out there would know what it means, especially business tycoons or people that want to start up their business or big and large businesses so they can learn from it.
Okay, I'll say it again.
Mhm.
GDCTS. It means gather your data, discover your data, clean your data, transform your data, and store it. When I say gather your data, obviously you have to get the data that you're actually going to use. And then when you're done gathering your data, you discover in what way this data can actually help your company to grow. When you're done doing that, you clean your data because obviously, like what Master Bemisoye said, it's not every data that will be useful. You have to scrutinize and select out the ones that will be needed for your company. And also, you transform those data. Obviously, yes, you're done cleaning it. You transform it into something that everybody can actually use, will be actually used to make your company to grow. And when you're done doing that, you store that data. You store it for future purposes because the data that you're getting now is not just for now, it's for the future also. Getting data and analyzing data is not just a one day thing, it's a journey of a million miles. So you have to be very, very prepared and also understand that this data that I'm carrying or I'm gathering is what will help my company to be stabilized and to move smoothly. Thank you.
Wow. So, mommies and daddies out there, business tycoons, small businesses, large businesses, I hope you have learned at least something very important today. Going to the next question, Mr. Dades, I would want to ask, where can business source their data and what are the factors to be considered?
Okay, so data is very important and it's essential for running a business. It's actually the backbone of modern day businesses. Um, Trying to run a business without data analysis is like trying to bake a cake without a recipe. Of course, you know you're going to need some flour, you're going to throw in some eggs, but you're more likely to get a stone instead of your cake. And even if you do end up baking it successfully, if you're asked to bake that cake again, you will not know how to do it because you don't know why you succeeded in the first place. So data analysis is essential for not just growth, but for sustaining that growth. Now, what are the sources of the data we are going to use for this analysis? Right? So companies that leverage data have a competitive edge over other businesses because they are able to make faster, smarter, and then more profitable decisions. So what are the sources of data we can use? We have two major sources of data. First, we have the internal sources, which are the sources that are generated within the company, and then the external sources, which come from outside the company. So the first internal source I'm talking about is from sales transactions. So you can get data from your transactions, from your financial records, and everything that happens within your business. The second one is customer feedback, which is a very essential part of gathering data, because this is one of the major ways you can gather data from your customers: consumer feedback and website analytics. So when you put consumer feedback and website analysis together, you can be able to do something very, very monumental. Because if you look at companies like Netflix, Prime, and streaming services, online streaming services, even music apps like Spotify, Audiomack, what they do is that they get data from you, they get feedback from you based on what you do all the time. They track you based on what you're always watching, based on what you're always listening to. Through that, they are able to analyze it and then give you a more customized and personalized experience. So they give you more of what you like. That's why you're always coming back to them. And that's one of the ways that data analysis can help the growth of a business. So moving on to the external sources which are collected from outside the business, we have social media. Social media can be used to collect data from different places, different parts of the world, can be used to identify trends. And then another source is market research. This is very essential to identify industry trends, the trends that are happening in your industry, in your particular field, and also is very important for market entry. When you are entering the market, how will my business penetrate? What is special about my business that will make it stand out? This market that I'm entering, what will make my business special? There's also data from government and public agencies, Nigerian Bureau of Statistics and other agencies like that. So, but what are the factors we can consider? We talked about cleaning data. So, in cleaning data, what are the factors we consider when we are looking for data? There are two key considerations we should consider when we are looking at data. Number one is the quality, and number two is the relevance. So, in quality, I've summarized it into an acronym: ACC. A, is it accurate? This is talking about the integrity of your data. Are there errors in the data? Because if your data is not correct, you are for sure, indubitably, you are going to make the wrong decisions, which will put your business in jeopardy. So you have to make sure that the integrity of your data is intact so that you'll be able to make the right decisions. And then completeness. Does your data have all the necessary information you need to be able to make decisions from it? And then consistency. Is it consistent? Does it agree with other data sets? Now, the second point is relevance. Does this data align with your business goals? One thing about sourcing for data is that you have to source for data that is relevant and that is related to the industry that you're going into. Does it align with your business goals? Is it actionable? Is it clear enough for you to be able to make actual decisions from it, or does it just look cool? And then the last one is your data up to date? For people that are into the stock market, you know that you need real-time feed to be able to make good decisions. So those are the key considerations that we look into when we're sourcing for data.
Master Dennis, that was so wonderful. But I would like you to go over that again, especially that acronym. Why I'm saying so is because you're giving us nitty gritties for businesses. It doesn't matter whether your business is small or it's big. These are nitty gritties that we need to know. As someone that wants to start up a small business, or someone that even has a big business and doesn't know these things. So we need that acronym again. This will help our audience to understand better. Please.
Okay. So I said the key considerations for sourcing data is quality and relevance. And quality comprises of ACC. That is your data accurate? Is it complete? And is it consistent? So accuracy, completeness, and consistency.
Wow. All right. Wonderful. So, Miss Patricia, on to you. As it pertains data collection and data analysis, how does a business ascertain the internal and external factors that affects it?
Okay, to understand the internal and external factors affecting them, businesses usually collect and analyze data both from inside the organization and outside the organization. Internally, they look at things like the performance of the employees, the data that's obtained from sales, and the feedback of customers to spot their strengths and weaknesses. While externally, they look at things like market trends, industry research, competitive analysis to understand their opportunities and threats. Now let's delve into Amazon as a case study. So internally, Amazon gathers massive amounts of data from its websites, warehouses, customer feedback, and employee performance to track what has been working for them and to keep improving on it. And it helps to identify weaknesses such as delays in the purchase of a product or high rate of returns by customers. With the use of AI and machine learning, Amazon is able to process this data quickly, giving room for real-time adjustments. Real-time adjustments in the sense that it's able to make almost immediate or instant changes to certain aspects of the organization as a result of new information or situations. And all this is done without delay. For example, if a product is trending in a specific region, Amazon is able to increase the stock of that particular product within that specific region immediately. These internal insights help improve the efficiency, customer satisfaction, and overall performance of the organization. Externally, Amazon collects data from market trends, customer reviews, economic indicators, competitor actions, and even social media. This helps to inform the organization about changes in consumer behaviors, new technologies, and upcoming regulations in different regions. For example, during global events like the COVID-19 pandemic, Amazon was able to adapt quickly to this setback because they were tracking the changes in demand and supply chain disruptions through the use of real-time data. To make sense of all this information, Amazon makes use of a mechanism called source analysis to evaluate the internal and external factors and how it affects the organization. It equally relies on constant customer feedback and sentiment tracking to guide and determine their strategies. Amazon's ability to collect and analyze data gives it a deep understanding of itself and its environment, allowing it to stay competitive, innovate quickly, and lead and dominate the global markets.
Wow, that was wonderful. Wow. So, in other words, what you're saying is that because they have real time, they can analyze data in real time and make adjustments to whatever they are doing.
Precisely.
Wow, wonderful. So, on to you, Miss Mwamara. So, I want to ask, why is data analysis referred to as an oxygen in the context of modern organizations like Amazon?
Just as oxygen is essential for life in general, data analysis is crucial for the health, the growth, development, and the sustainability of an organization. As Masai Jaula had said, data is a collection of raw facts and figures so as to use them to process information that can be later used to make decisions. And data analysis is the gathering, collecting, transforming, and storage of data in order to use them to make decisions, in order to use them to make decisions that can affect in order to use them to make decisions for an organization. It is essential to know that decision making is a very essential part of every organization and it can either make or mar your business, no matter how big or small it is. So it is very essential to pay keen attention to the kind of decision you make for your organization. Let's use Amazon as a reference now. They use something called big data to study their customers, to study their to understand their customers rather. And they use this big data to navigate their users' performance on the app. Basically, when I say navigate, I mean how their customers browse the app, what they search for and what they don't search for, their reviews, and what they like and what they do not like. So they use that data and then they personalize their customers based on what they have already searched for. And then keep bringing up recommendations on what they are going to buy based on what they've searched for previously. So without that data that they have collected, they're not going to be able to know what their customers are going to want in the future, or what they're going to probably shop for in the future. So without that, they are basically going to fall and they're not going to have any more customers to to patronize them. Let's put patronize. So that is how it's essential for the growth and expansion.
Master Tovia, what are your thoughts on the impact of data analysis on the operational efficiency of Amazon? And what takeouts can modern businesses learn from this?
In relation to Amazon as our case study, we are made to understand that what do you call it? What's the again? Operational something. Efficiency. So now, predicting demand. One thing that's made Amazon stand out from different companies and markets over the years is their ability to predict demand. Anything that makes a company successful is the fact that they are able to see the demand ahead of time. Now, the sustainability of a company cannot be achieved based on the present views, but can also be achieved based on the ability to see the future. This ability to see the future is what has kept Amazon high up in the game with a market value of the fourth. Now, I would like you to understand something. Two other points. Personalized experience. One thing that Amazon has been able to come to in terms of efficiency is personalized experience. Due to the data they have collected over the years and the search insights, it has helped to build an algorithm which is customer friendly due to the fact that they are now understanding their customers not just as people who are coming for business, but they are seeing them as people who they now care for, who they have an entitlement to, they feel they are attached to, so they are involved and they need to provide certain response to them. And streamlined efficiency. Now, when you talk about streamline, it's smooth, it's easy, it's accessible. Now, Amazon has made this so possible in such a way that there is no hitches in their algorithm, there's no hitches in their interface. They have made it as smooth as possible. Now, Amazon makes use of Amazon Web Services, that's the AWS program, in order to maximize information from different sources all around the world. The AWS program is used to find out, okay, let's come together, let's form a network, let's form a topology and understand the fact that, okay, we're providing so and so information, we're giving this, we're giving that. One thing about business is the fact that they fail to analyze from their rivals. What makes these people my rival? What am I looking up to that is making them a competition? They fail to analyze the competition. Amazon has come to that point that they have analyzed the competition and they have beat the competition. Now they are at the top of their game. Now, as you can see, Amazon is one company that has decided to stand independently on their own due to the fact that they have come to the point that, okay, we are now producing and offering value to the market. So the market is also offering value to us. Now, what are the key takeaways from this? Data-driven insights. If you don't build a robust infrastructure, you are wasting your time in business. One thing that is vital, one thing that is key in business is a robust infrastructure. Now, in terms of that infrastructure, now we're talking about insights. If you don't have information, if you don't have backup, if you don't have references where you have that you can look up to and then you can respond to and use to re-implement into the system, you are failing at your job. You have customer-centric approach. The customer is always right. When you start thinking and you start feeling that you are the customer, you start losing your purpose in the market. Your purpose in the market as a businessman, as a businesswoman in this modern day business is to understand the fact that there are people under you, there are people who are looking forward to your services, looking forward to what you can offer them, not what you think is best for them. You suggesting for your customer is based on their preferences. That's what helps them to come back constantly and continuously. And finally, what I'm talking about, a robust infrastructure for network insights. Now, this is similar to what I said before, the data-driven insight. When you have this robust structure, you have something that you can look back to for the future. That's where you have this predicting of demand. And now, this is a conglomerate on efficiency in relation to data analysis. Thank you.
Wow, wonderful. So, to modern businesses out there, one of the key takeaways he's saying is that in Amazon, they give personalized user experience, which means that as a customer, what you get is different from what the next customer is getting. So, we're going on a short break right now, and we'll be right back. And where these pundits are going to give us more insight on how Amazon is one of the biggest or is one of the giant companies in the world today. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the Executive Business Pundits brought to you by JC Vesco. We're still discussing on Amazon, the house of quants in Amazon. This is one of the biggest companies in the world and it has the biggest management style. They use data to drive into the economy and they are using data to give us personalized experiences. So we are back with the pundits of JC Vescos and they are going to still disintegrate and tell us more on how Amazon pierced through the borders and made it one of the biggest companies in the world today. So I'm going to be discussing with Master Dades how can failing to use data analysis negatively impact the growth and sustainability of modern businesses?
So, as we've established, data analysis is essential for the growth and sustainability of a business. So, how can not using data analysis negatively affect the growth and sustainability of a business? Now, I'm going to use a case study of Amazon. Yes, Amazon is a case study and is close competitor Walmart. So one way of showing you what sustainability is to show you what is not. So Walmart dominated 20th century retail with its brick and mortar efficiency. But Amazon, with its data driven tech first approach, yeah, they were able to outclass Walmart and expose key weaknesses in Walmart's model. So where did Walmart fall behind? Firstly, they were over reliant on the physical stores, the conventional stores. Physical stores, when you look at it, they are way more expensive to run than digital stores because you have the cost of staffing, you have the cost of real estate, you have the cost of utility, power supply, water. So Amazon was able to save all those costs and then convert it, all those savings, they converted it and they used it to support their tech, which made them better. And then Walmart's store-centric model could not match Amazon's scalability. They went into e-commerce late. So Walmart went into e-commerce in 2000, while Amazon had been in it since 1994. And their early site was clunky, while Amazon had AI-driven recommendations and one-click checkouts, which set the standard for online shopping. And their supply chain was rigid. So Amazon supply chain is agile and flexible, but Walmart's supply chain is rigid. It was used to shipping to stores. So when people wanted goods shipped to their houses, they were not able to adapt because a rigid supply chain is just like a huge cargo ship. It's difficult to turn it fast. But a flexible supply chain is like a speedboat. It can change direction and go zip wherever it wants at any time. So their supply chain was rigid. And then data utilization gap. Amazon was able to utilize their data very, very well to be able to give us personalized experience. We already talked about that, how they give you customized experience based on your feedback. And they were able to dynamically price. So they were able to give you real-time prices that change based on the current environment and all that. And they were able to use that data to optimize inventory. So Walmart used historical sales data and did not use real-time predictive analysis, and that's where Amazon were able to outclass them. So how could data analysis have saved Walmart? They would have used predictive demand forecasting. So yeah, they would have seen trends and they would have able to predict demand, and they would be able to allocate resources efficiently, and they will know that this part is not doing well, so we should not spend resources on it. So let's allocate resources to parts of the business that will bring us more profit. And then dynamic pricing. Amazon had a dynamic pricing system where the prices changed based on market conditions, competitor actions, and then customer behavior. So Walmart just had this standard low price that does not change, but Amazon had dynamic pricing system, so prices changed based on certain conditions, and then they were able to master customer personalization. I think that's one of the things we have to give to Amazon, because you know that what you're getting is different from what every other person is getting based on what you like, based on what you have done over and over again. They keep on studying you. It's almost like a relationship where somebody's getting to know you. So Amazon gets to know you and they get to recommend personalized content just for you. Yeah, and then they also have supply chain agility, like the speedboats. They're able to change their supply chain, whether to stores, whether to your homes, or whether to their pickup centers. So they're able to make their supply chain flexible and agile. So, what are the key takeaways from what I've just said? Number one, data beats guesswork. We cannot afford to run our business on guesswork or intuition. So, data analysis always beats guesswork. And then we should adapt early. Data analysis will help you to see the trend, help you to see the shift, and then you need to be able to adapt to those trends early and then synergize channels. Synergize channels means, for example, Walmart now. If Walmart had adapted early, they would have still had their physical stores and online stores. So they would have been able to synergize those two in order to maximize profits. And maybe they would have even been greater than Amazon today.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, in other words, what we're learning is that data helps to bring synergy, and Walmart should have maybe synergized between their physical stores and their online stores. But that was the edge that Amazon had over them. And another thing is data beats guesswork. Honestly, that is something that small businesses and large businesses should even start doing. So we need data, no matter how small the data is, no matter how small your business is something that we need to look into. Wonderful.
Yeah, in addition to that, one thing I've learned is that when it comes to business, you forget everything you know. Now, if you want to achieve a sustainable business, you don't work hard, you work smart. Working smart is the ability for you to think on time and think with time. Now, most businesses fail to think on time and they fail to think with time. That's where they miss it, that's where they lose it. Now, I want you to understand something. One thing about businesses and how they are able to thrive is their ability to think. Most people, they don't think, they just guess, they just do. Your ability to think, it helps you to weigh your losses, your profits, where you are going to be in the next time. And now that ability to think is what helps you to sustain, because if you are not seeing the future and you are not seeing the solution, you cannot see the problem. So once you see the solution before the problem, when the problem comes, there's already a solution on ground. That's why you need data analysis to sustain your business.
Wow, Master Toby, I think you're going to come again because I think the business tycoons, our audiences need to know whether they are thinking in time or, sorry, correct me if I'm getting it, or thinking on time because we are not getting it properly. Please say it again.
So what I'm trying to say, when it comes to the matter of business, working hard, we don't have time to work hard again. Now we just have time to work smart. Amazon worked smart, they didn't work hard because they are not the first people that started the online business sector. So why did they succeed? Because they worked smart, they worked on time. Working on time is your ability to work within your given time range, make sense on time. One thing that you do when you come to a certain place, when you come to present, you make sense on time. Then when you comes to thinking with time, you and time are working in accordance with each other. Most people say that, oh, I don't have enough time to achieve this, I don't have enough time to achieve that. To Amazon, impossibility became a myth because they decided to work beyond the realm of, oh, so and so time is allotted to them. They started to work in agreement with time. When you work in cognizance with time, you begin to understand that, okay, there's a realm I'm going to enter in this business that, see, time and every factor has to stand still because I have an idea that no one is seeing. That light I'm seeing is something that will help me to achieve what I have in mind. Now, one thing I learned is that when you can see where you are going, nothing can stop you and keep you where you are. So you have to see that. That's what allows you to think with time and sustain your business.
In addition to that, I think thinking with time could also, there are two types of time. There's Kairos and there's Chronos. The first talking about, the present time, time. And then the second talking about the seasons. So when you are talking about thinking with time, you're thinking about the current season that we're in, the current dispensation. What do people want now? Like the trends. What is happening now? What do people want now? So that's also another
In addition
interpretation
to that,
of
but
thinking with time.
if it's based on what people wanted now, Amazon will be where they are. They started seeing ahead of time. They started predicting demand. That's where predicting demand comes in,
Yeah.
because it helps them to efficiently maximize the potential of their warehouse. So even when there's a rainy day, they don't see the rainy day when it starts raining. You don't buy an umbrella when it starts raining. You buy it ahead of time. So giving umbrella to someone that just came back from rain is useless. So it's just in terms of sustainability. If you cannot think with time, if you cannot implement what you have with time, then you are failing at sustaining your business.
Wow, wonderful. Mr. Ajalo, on to you, Mr. Gbemisoye. Sorry. Do you think that there are problems that data analysis pose to business, and what are the solutions?
Thank you, Sarah, for the wonderful questions.
Okay.
We obviously can't forget the problems associated with data analysis. Definitely, you encountered problems in data analysis. It's not like we don't encounter problems in our everyday lives, don't we? So,
Yes.
first, we go on to incompetence. You employ workers, they're slacking off on the job, they're not meeting up to their expectations, they are falling below expected cuts. This ultimately brings down the level of your business. You can't garner enough data for your proper analysis. Like, because of the incompetence of workers, you don't have enough workforce to meet your required targets. So that hinders data analysis. But there is a solution to this. A solution to this incompetence is recruiting abled workers with the fundamental skills, the foundational skills like mathematical skills, computer science skills, any skill required to attain proper data analysis procedures. You need to recruit those workers, and they have to be experienced. Them being experienced in these aspects allows more workforce, more reliable workforce for data analysis. Now we move on to storage problems. Imagine you have a huge heap of data. You've analyzed this data. So now, what next? You need to store it. You can't just leave the data in the open. There are many other companies who are willing to take advantage of your data. So you have to store it. But you have little storage. That is a very, very big problem many companies run into today. That's why companies get taken down easily, because their competitors can easily find a way to access their random analyzed data lying around, because it wasn't stored properly. No proper storage facility, storage was not enough. So they can easily use that as an advantage over you. Even though you've analyzed your data and everything, it doesn't matter if you've not stored it and someone can easily access it. So that is a very big problem, but it can be tackled by upgrading your storage system, by creating effective topologies that will allow you to store massive amounts of data. Imagine you analyze heaps of data and you store it securely. No hackers can get to it. Your competitors, nothing for them. And now you have everything safe and secure. We'll move to the last problem. There are many other problems, but we'll move to incomplete data log. So now, when you are in the process of garnering data, it can be incomplete. It won't be sustainable for you because it's not up to date. You're working with incomplete data here. So thereby, if your data is incomplete, the result of your data analysis will be incomplete. So that is what you have. But incomplete data log can be easily tackled. Although it's one of the reigning problems with small and large companies today, can be tackled by getting your data from reliable sources, surveys, and different ways of gathering your data will be very essential. It has to be reliable. Reliability is key, because if your data is reliable and complete, your data analysis will also be reliable and complete, allowing you to make informed business decisions that will improve your company ultimately for the better. Thank
Talking
you.
about competence, don't you think training your employees can be another solution to incompetence?
Yeah, that's the recruiting. Like,
Recruiting is bringing them in. When you bring them in and you see that they're incompetent, isn't training them another way of solving the issue?
Well, getting experienced workers from outside and replacing it with the incompetent workers will be a more effective solution, because the cost of training them, you have to regard the cost of training them, plus they are still working. so you have to pay them their salary. But if you just employ an experienced worker right off the hook, you're free to go. You have a reliable workforce that will produce very transparent and sustainable data for your data analysis that will ultimately improve your business.
Yeah, two of you are both correct in that manner, but at the same time, even if you get experienced workers, you still need to retrain or your workers need to still go for training all the time as they are working. Doesn't matter whether they are working or not, they still need to go for retraining to get proper certifications or to get proper knowledge or to get more knowledge added to the ones that they have.
I agree with that, Stella. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, pundits. Now, before we go, I want to ask a question. I want to bring it home. Now, you guys are still students of JC Best Schools International, and you have educated us on on Amazon itself and how Amazon became one of the biggest companies in the world today. So, bringing it home, how can we relate it to you students? How can we relate it to school, to JAM, to WAEC exams, or we are writing SATs? So, tell me, how can we bring it home?
Okay, so I think data analysis is not something that is too far away. It's not
Yes.
something that is only for adults and for businesses. For us too, as students, when preparing for an exams, one of the first points of calls we go to is past questions. And what's past questions? Past question is a form of data. Yeah, a form of data. So you can now analyze the past questions and see that okay, this year these questions came out, this year these questions came out, and then over the years you will notice a trend, right? You notice a trend and you notice that these are the questions that come out and these are the topics that are likely to come out. So you can now allocate your resources. Resources in this term meaning like your time. Allocate your time towards parts or certain topics that come out more often, and then you'll be able to spend more time on them and be able to come out with a better result, just like we all did. We've been having CBT jam practice since SS1. So every time we have jam practice, the topics or the subjects you failed, you list them out, and then you go back and you work on them. All these are all processes of data analysis, and that's what we all did. And at the end of the day, we can see how our results. We have beautiful results. I personally, I got 333 in jam, and we all have many of us here that got above 300 in jam. So that's how data analysis can help you, even as a student. Yeah, so it's not something that's too far away.
Not to toot JC Best Schools horn, but as you heard from Master Dades, he says that since JSS1, they do CBT practice, that's computer based test for JAM, and they do it every time to come out with very, very good results. So that is very wonderful.
In addition to what Master Dad said, one thing data analysis aids in is the identification of your areas of recovery and areas of adjustment. Personally, when I was studying for JAMB, I discovered that I had issues with chemistry. And what I did was to go back and study chemistry extensively. I focused on all of them, but then I focused on chemistry the most. And at the end, when my JAMB results came out, I got my highest score was chemistry. I got a 293. My highest score was chemistry. So data analysis helped me to identify my areas of recovery and my areas of adjustment.
Wow. So as you can see, data analysis is not just for business alone. It even goes down to students. I hope our mommies and daddies are home, business tycoons, whatever sector that you are in, you see that in everything we require data analysis. We have learned that in leveraging data analytics, businesses can gain insights, make informed decisions, which drives growth. So, in whatever sector that you are in, we need data analytics. Thank you for listening today. We'll see you next edition, same time next week. Bye.